Chris, good evening to you. Well, out of the masses of people leaving Ukraine, dozens come from other countries. Now we're talking about migrant workers and students. Some of them, particularly those of African descent, have encountered challenges with Ukrainian border authorities.
As long as you're black, no one likes you.
As hundreds of thousands of people flee Ukraine from Russia's invasion, some immigrants and students of African descent say they're stuck at the border due to racism and discrimination.
Mostly they would consider white people first, Indian people, Arabic people, before black people.
Ukraine's Minister of Foreign Affairs responded to the widespread reports in a tweet, in part stating, Ukraine's government spares no effort to solve the problem. Ukraine established an emergency hotline for Africans and others in need of help leaving the country. UN Secretary General spokesperson Stefan Dujarric.
The Secretary General very much appreciates the generosity of those governments bordering Ukraine. It is vital that they ensure that all people, regardless of ethnicity, religion, or culture, are afforded the same treatment and protection.
We are monitoring the situation.
Dr. Ernest Uwazi is the director of the Center for African Peace and Conflict Resolution at Sacramento State. The center provides services to the government and other agencies.
We condemn such acts of mistreatment of Africans, or anybody for that matter.
Dr. Uwazi says he recently spoke with his cousin, who safely fled from Ukraine to Romania, avoiding the Polish border as a Nigerian.
When I was talking with him, wasn't dwelling so much on the cruelty of don't come because of your skin color. You know, he didn't want to dwell on it, which is understandable, but definitely didn't think was acceptable. We continue to pray and remember the people of Ukraine. We continue to call on the government of Ukraine and the people of Ukraine to receive and treat Africans like any others.
Well, on Twitter, videos have been shared under the hashtag Africans in Ukraine, showing African students being kept from boarding trains and buses. Chris.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Arucha HaQuadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Also, sincere shalom to you other brethren, you followers of the truth, even you few sisters, and shalom to the elect. Anyway, I want to go on this video here. This is kind of going to be a little back and forth about Israelites, you know, our people, and in the conditions we're in, and how Eve, the so-called black woman, is being used and being targeted to forward the support of black lives. Now, when you understand what I mean by being targeted in support of black lives, that changed the dynamics of the order of the Most High and what he set up. And it also proves that when it comes to us as so-called black men, and I'm talking about in general, as Jake, you know, you being used, you know, your counterparts is being used to put on top, which further oppresses you and puts you under. Now, I'm going to read this, and I'll get into that because we'll show you that the support of Black Lives Matter, all these so-called black, you know, support of black movements is always headed by women, for the most part. And this is what we see now, and what they're doing is you're using the fact of what was normal and to try to say bringing equality. And what's happening is by bringing in equality, it's not really even equal at this point. Everything is about Eve, right? So I was going to do the video on going into Deuteronomy, cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in. What's that? Deuteronomy 28 and 16. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thy basket in the store be. Cursed shalt thou be of the fruit of the body, the fruit of the land, the increase of thy kind, the flocks of the sheep. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. So no matter where you Jakes go, from Nigeria to the Ukraine, from Nigeria to Europe, from being forced from the parts of Africa and Spain over to the Americas, and the Native Americans being pushed. And we're going to show you through the Spirit that this is all funded, and all these Black Lives movements and his restoration of Black people is all funded. When you go back into the time, even when you go back into the time of Harriet Tubman, who was funded by the Quakers, who was given weapons and whatever to help, and men to help bring slaves out. She got all the accolades for the Underground Railroad, when the Underground Railroad existed long before she came on the scene, and they were all funded by elites back in the 1800s, 1700s, 1900s. This is nothing more than what you see. Another form of the Black Lives Matter is another form of Underground Railroad, which is funded by the elites. George Soros is one of them. But I'll get into that in a second. I'll read this article because this is what the video was going to be on, but it changed as I started reading this, This is a man by the name of Tolupo Osho, 31. He's a Nigerian that was in Ukraine, right? And they're saying that nobody's trying to help them, because they're Black, and didn't you know that when your ass went there? So at the end of the day, our people will always cry and always complain. Jeremiah 8:11, when it says, they have healed the hurt of the daughters of my people slightly, saying peace, peace, when there is no peace, right? And they don't see that there's no peace. They're all trying to make it. But you know who they're helping make it? Eve, right? So it says here, this man reached the Polish border the day after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, was close to safety from war-torn land, but he decided to turn around. He said, I have friends, he said, of his fellow Africans in Ukraine, right? He says, if by leaving my valuables I could save more lives, I am doing it. Life is more important, okay? Osho, who from Nigeria returned to Ternopil in western Ukraine, where he's remained in a safe zone for the past week. So this is proving this is a he. He helped shelter people in an underground bunker. So this man pretty much created an underground railroad for the other so-called Africans and Nigerians, right? And it says he's driven to the borders and provided money through a fundraiser. In all, he said he have aided some 200 people, right? So when we go down here, it says organizations like the Center of Urban History Fight for Right, Buktak SOS, I don't know what that is, and an Urgent African Fund for Women's Human Rights. And this is the separation, because it's not just about women's, I'm just speaking in the terminology of Babylon. We know, we Israelites, we understand the deal, we know the prophecies, we know what's up. But it's our job to expose this wickedness, man. It's now evolved from our human rights as a so-called nation of people to just women's human rights. Everything is about Eve, man. You can't even look at a commercial and they got probiotics just for Eve, but yet we equal, right? I mean, you see lotions just for Eve, right? They got certain foods just for Eve. Can't make this stuff up. But yet, everybody's claiming that we need to be on the equal, we're the same people, we bleed the same blood. So here you see in a case where our people who claim, this whole world claim that we bleed the same blood, we're all a human race. And then you still have these people kicking Israelites out of countries that they stole. And then on top of that, these same elites, these puppeteers that's pulling all this, is the same ones that says, well, we need to advocate for more women's rights. Let's go on. The women's human rights are providing everything from food and transportation to shelter for those fleeing the conflict, right? Now, we can also know that men are supposedly the heads. And this is why Eve today will get in these relationships and say, hey, you're supposed to be the head. When the powers that be, I'll keep saying that, is the ones that funding you, Eve, to be on top. This is why you're looking at a man that's sitting next to you and you're expecting him to be up on high. Well, first you would have to be brought down low in order for him to be up on high. But that's another video. Anyway, it says an Osho of several Africans helping in the rescue efforts. Let me go on down because it's a lot. It says, and among those who have stepped up to help Africans stranded in the country or desperately trying to flee, the woman formed, right? The woman formed Black Woman for Black Lives. You see how black men is not even mentioned anymore? So-called. It's not about you Jakes anymore, man. It's all about the Eve. You know? It's all about them, man. Let's go to Jeremiah, which we know this off the top. Jeremiah 31:22. How long will thou go about thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord had created a new thing on the earth. A woman shall compass a man. So anybody who says this Bible is fake, the Bible's not real, you are in violation of your own understanding of the scriptures, right? Let's go to this. I actually clicked it on. This is the website. Our Humanity, right? Here we go. Our Humanity, not for transactional. It says Black Woman for Black Lives. Black Woman for Black Lives, right? So then I said, okay, let me go to, let me go to who funded the Black Lives Matter, which we know it was 3 women, but Alicia Garza, Patricia Cullors, and Opal Tometi, right? But this is interesting. I didn't even go to Patricia Cullors. I mean, they were all set up anyway, but this will prove that. Alicia Garza, right? Let's see who she was. Alicia Garza was born a single mother in Oakland, California in 1981. Right? Her first 4 years were spent in San Rafael, living with her African-American mother. See, they still putting these terminologies on us too. We're not African-American, man. We're Israelites. And her mother's twin brother. After that, she lived. And that's why these Christians and various other people come against us. They can't see anything of, even our people can't see anything better because we were conditioned for many, many years to believe we were African Americans. So before the 1500s, we were just African booty scratchers to these people, Anyway, living with her African mother and her mother's twin brother. After that, she lived with her mother and her Jewish stepfather and grew up as Alicia Swartz, right? So she come from Garza. Her name was Alicia Garza, and now she changed her name to Alicia Swartz. Now, I'm not going to go any further than that. Can't even say much more on that. But y'all in the know what this is all about, right? So we understand that George Soros, who is of the same ethnicity, if you want to call it that, belief, may have had ties, right? So let's go to Ayo Tometi. This was a Nigerian woman. Her parents are of Yoruba ethnicity, which anybody know Yoruba is Igbo, which is Hebrew. So she's a Hebrew Israelite. So this is a way they make mockery of our nation by using these situations, and they know, them top elites know, and putting them over you Jakes. Clearly the Black Lives Matter was, we know what that was really geared upon, or the front stage of that was all about, but The men that was losing their lives in the so-called Black Lives controversy was the predominantly men. So I just wanted to make that point, to get to the point on that, of the wickedness, man. Ecclesiastes 25 and 24, of the woman became the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. We all die. You can also go to Jeremiah 44, and this was the whole agenda from day one, to link, to put the Eve up on the top tier, so to speak. So you Jakes would follow the Queen of Heaven. Jeremiah the 44th chapter, you can read the whole thing. It says, but since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and poured out drink offers unto her, we have wanted all things and have been consumed by the sword and by the famine. And that's going into even now to a degree. When, Jake tried to stand up and be his own man, try to stand up on his own, he still have to go through Eve to get the things that he want to get. And now Jake is actually following Eve all the way to the Queen of Heaven, man. And when we burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and poured out drink offerings unto her, right? And Babylon represents the Queen of Heaven. Did we make her cakes to worship her and pour out drink offerings unto her without our men? Right? And you can keep reading on, because when you keep reading on, it goes into, let me go on down to the 21. The incense that ye burned in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, ye and your fathers, your kings, your princes, and your people of the land, did not the Lord remember them, and came it not into his mind. Right? So basically, our people followed the Queen of Heaven's spirit. And that's what's being set, the stage has been set for now. When they said we would do nothing but continue to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven. Right? And that's what you see. Let me go back up here. But we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offers unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings, and our princes, in the cities of Judah and the streets of Jerusalem. And for then had we plenty victuals, and were well, saw no evil. And this is the whole spirit of that Harriet Tubman, she's being the deliverer, right? The savior. And that's the same spirit, man. It's like nothing's new under the sun. Anyway, that's all I have on that. Shalom.